Good morning. Welcome to Inside Talk Show. Inside Talk Show. It is an inside job. Life is an inside job. Do not allow your five senses, which you hear, see, smell, taste, touch, affect your inner world, the real world, the world that actually creates, the one that you live with 24/7, that dictates your experience of life. We are continuing the reading of James Allen. We're on chapter 2, The World, a Reflex of Mental States. And this is from his book, The Path of Prosperity. We left off yesterday. The incidences of every human life, which both make or break, are drawn to it by the quality and power of its own inner thought life. Every soul is a complex combination of gathered experiences and thoughts, and the body is but an improvised vehicle for its manifestation. Okay. This is the engine, our mind, and I just point here because that's where we think of the mind. But remember, our thoughts, our mind is the vehicle for this physical body. The unseen drives the seen. What, therefore, your thoughts are, that is your real self. So, what, therefore, your thoughts are, that is your real self, and the world around, both animate and inanimate, wears the aspect with which your thoughts clothe it. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. Thus, said Buddha, and it therefore follows that if a man is happy, it is because he dwells in happy thoughts. If miserable, because he dwells in despondent and debilitating thoughts. Whether one be fearful or fearless, foolish or wise, troubled or serene, within that soul lies the cause of its own state or states, and never without. Kind of like we were talking about yesterday. What matrix do you live in? What are you birthing? What is your center of divine operation? The source of the matrix you are involved with, you see. What is that? It's a reflection of what you have going on in your thoughts. Let me read that again. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. Thus said Buddha, and it therefore follows that if a man is happy, it's because he dwells in happy thoughts. If miserable, because he dwells in despondent and debilitating thoughts. Whether one be fearful or fearless, foolish or wise, troubled or serene, within that soul lies the cause of its own state or states, and never without. And now I see, to hear a chorus of voices exclaim, but do you really mean to say that outward circumstances do not affect our minds? I do not say that, but I say this, and know it to be an infallible truth, that circumstances can only affect you insofar as you allow them to do so. That is the most important statement because that's the truth. So he's saying, after saying all of this, James Allen, quoting Buddha, all the great books say it. Your thoughts, your inner life creates the outer life, your experience of it, okay? And then he goes, but I hear all these people say, but do you really mean to say that all the stuff that's going on out here don't affect my mind? Are you saying that, Carla? That all the things that are going on in the world right now do not affect my mind and my thoughts? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's your choice, and so is James Allen, to allow them to. Because if what you're saying, I used to say this, but you don't understand, look at what he did, look at what they're doing, look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. It's making me feel blank. It's making me think blank. It's making me see blank. No. I'm allowing it to. Anything that's going on here, I'm responsible for. Outside, not responsible. Inside, responsible. We just have to understand how the law works. It's not fair. There's a beautiful, Life is Beautiful. Have you seen that movie about the Holocaust? Life is Beautiful. You need to watch it. You need to watch it. It's a beautiful example of how the most atrocious, heinous situation Through his thoughts, he gets through it. I mean, Viktor Frankl, A Man's Search for Meaning. If you haven't read that, I highly recommend it. He was, a psychiatrist. And he said in the midst, he lost his whole family. Everybody died. Everybody was murdered. I mean, talk about the most heinous, disgusting, unforgivable thing. He said, what I noticed then, they took all my clothes, they took my family, they took everything, but they could not take my ability to choose my own thoughts and think for myself. How I was going to respond. They did stuff, a lot of stuff was going on outside of me, and there was that space, and then I choose how I'm going to react or respond or think about the situation. And depending on how I react, respond, or think about the situation will determine how I feel inside. So, are you really saying that outward circumstances do not affect our minds? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I do know this as an infallible truth. As the day follows night, the circumstances can only affect you insofar as you allow them to do so. And I'll end with that because that is what we are all struggling with. That is what we are all struggling with. It's a muscle. It's a muscle that we must get strong. Strong like steel, strong like ox. We have to build that muscle. Those internal muscles of discerning, of choosing, strengthening all of our higher faculties. The will, reason, the ability to think, the will, holding our focus on one thing. Intuition, knowing when something just isn't right. Imagination, imagining a better future. Memory, remembering all the lessons we've learned. We must strengthen these inner muscles. We talk a lot about the physical body as like people are flabby, people are out of shape, people are obese. What if our internal unseen body had a shape? Would you be obese spiritually? Would you be out of shape? Would you be at death's door, so to speak, if you got a mental, spiritual, emotional checkup? How is your emotional health? How is your emotional health? I talked about this yesterday with someone. There's sobriety, right? Not any substance outside of you altering your state. But that's just substance. There's a whole nother sobriety. It's emotional sobriety. You can be free from substance and sober physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually, people are belligerent. It's no better than a drunkard. You might as well crack open a 6-pack, drink the liter. Not that I'm saying to do so, but the way we're feeling and acting, it's equivalent. We must be sober of mind. What's sobering you up? Do you read in the morning? Do you connect with yourself? Do you pray? Do you meditate? Do you just sit quietly? Do you go in nature? Do you have a study program? Do you have books? This is another thing. And I, oh my gosh, I'm going to try to post it. I saw where I learned this in my inner circle meeting with Bob a couple years ago. We were talking yesterday about, and I talk to my clients about this all the time. Whatever it is, whatever discipline you're doing, whether it be a certain way of working, like actors, what method they use, what teachers they go to. A lot of people hop from studio to studio, class to class. Religion, finding the right spiritual path for them. Maybe they'll be Christian, Buddhists, Muslim, atheist, whatever. No religion at all. Personal development, right? We have all kinds. Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Jim Rohn, the Silva method, all these methods, right? All these methods to really get a hold and live the life we want. Determining, by really exercising those inner muscles, being in control of our life, so to speak. Personal development. Also in therapy, therapists will get so many trainings. Therapists will go to training after training after training, learn all the methods, but never specifically get to one. Physical health, they'll jump from diet to diet. What's going to get my body in the shape I want? What's the new fad? So all those examples I just used, there's a million ways to do one thing. There's a million ways to get in shape. There's a million ways to find God or connect with yourself. There's a million ways to really hone in on your skills as a therapist. There's a million ways of how to be a really effective actor. All the examples I used, but we're trying to get to one truth. We want to get to it, whatever it is. And Bob drew this picture, and I saw it this morning. It was so cool because I just used this yesterday and I use it a lot, like I said. But this is the truth, whatever you want to get to. Say you're on your spiritual journey, not religious, but your spiritual journey. And religion is one doorway in, meditation, spirituality, whatever it is. Whatever you want to find, yourself or God, whatever, same thing. Your modality of therapy that really works, your way of acting, your method that works, whatever. So you know what I mean. So these represent layers of development, peeling back like an onion, okay? Peeling back like an onion. And there's a bunch of doorways in, but what a lot of people do, and Bob was saying this because one woman was talking about the Silva method, and he said, it's great, it's wonderful, but I also think what we teach is wonderful. And so a lot of people do this, and he says we all fall victim to, we find one thing, we go in one level, we get tired of it, so we go to another level. So we go in, maybe study it for 4 months, 4 years. It's getting a little boring. We want something new. We go in, no, not for me. We go in, almost there. Ooh, no, not for me. We go in, and we can just go in forever and ever and ever and never get to the center because we haven't stuck with it, whatever it is. Find what you like and stick with it. Find what you like and stick with it, or else you will never get here. And that's consistency, that's persistency, that's discipline, that's focus. Stay with it until you get there. They're all good. Don't get caught up in arguing what's the best way, what's the best religion, what's the best personal development program. Just find one that really resonates and sticks, that feels good, and stick with it. And as you get deeper and deeper and deeper, say this is a forest. You get deeper, deeper, deeper. It starts to thin out. There's not a lot of people in these, because not a lot of people stick with it. So it can be lonely. It can be quiet in here, and you can get scared. If you've lost a lot of friends, if you've, really changed and lost things in your life, you're on the right track. If you know you're headed to where you're going. I hope you know what I mean in that sense. Not a lot of people find this truth. This is that 2%. We look at people that got here and we're like, wow, I want to do it. But can we hang? Do we have the stamina to get there? Do you have the stamina? And that's what we have to build. That's what we have to build. Stick with it. Find something that works for you. I did. If anybody knows me, I am obsessed with personal development and I love it all. I love it all. But for my own personal preference, I love Proctor Gallagher. I love PGI. I love Bob Proctor. It was my jam. And it'll be my jam for life. Will I always be open to other things? Absolutely. But I'm staying with this because within it, we study certain things. Neville Goddard, Thomas Troward, Genevieve B. Rand, and he brings all of this really, James Allen, all of these wonderful things that give me this greater awareness and the tools that I need. So find what works for you and stick with it. It's gonna get quiet. It's gonna get lonely. It's gonna get tough. Just stick with it. It's the best gift you can give to yourself. It's the best gift you can give to yourself. It's like therapy. Stick with therapy. I have a lot of clients, I see them for a few weeks and they're like, okay, I'm good. And then they go on their merry way, only to bump up against whoopsie poops. I didn't stick with it. There's a lot of things on this topic that I could get into, but stick with it. Nothing comes quick, nothing comes fast, nothing comes easy. There's no magic pill. There's no magic pill. So if you have any questions, if you want to know about the programs I teach or come and study with me, it is so powerful. If anything I say resonates with you, I live this life every single day. People think I'm nuts. Good. That means I'm doing it right. Because if people don't think you're crazy, people don't think you're doing extra, people don't think you're like, wow, that's a lot. That's extreme. Wow, relax. If you are not at that level, you're not doing enough. It's like the Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality, Muhammad Ali, all of these greats. Elon Musk. People think they're, I hope you think I'm. Have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow.